this is another thing Khamzat said yesterday. And he said it very confidently. He said, if it goes quick, I'll be ready. If it goes 5 rounds, I'm ready for that too. It sounds to me like what you saw in that training session tells you this man has to go 25 minutes. He's ready for that bag.
So Khamzat Chimaev, I just think he's built a certain way. But if Dricus du Plessis can drag him out to the later rounds, I still think it favours Dricus. And the fact that Khamzat is a 2-1 favourite is crazy.
Also, heard Dricus in Chicago. Bro, this is my city. Big card next week. Huge main event. You need anything from Chicago. Food, groceries, therapist, cage, gym, sauna. Make sure you don't hit me up. You're not welcome here. Chicago, you see him, you let him know. You don't like his kind. Go Khamzat.
MMA pros have just clapped back at Khamzat Chimaev weak cardio rumors and warned Dricus du Plessis to watch out for him. On the other hand, Drucker Close believed that if the fight went past 2 rounds, Dricus du Plessis would win. He felt DDP's awkward, unorthodox style made even experienced fighters uncomfortable. Close said DDP brings opponents down to his level, making the fight messy and unpredictable. When asked by Tim Welch who he'd bet $10K on, Close confidently picked DDP to get the job done.
Who do you got in that, Dre?
I think if it goes over 2 rounds, I got DDP, but
If someone's giving you 10K, what are you doing with it?
fuck, I'm gonna go DDP.
I think DDP too, dude.
He's awkward. Just when you're not like, when people are used to, I think like even like pros and when we spar amateurs do completely different. And you get hit with like, hey, you're not supposed to go that way. It happens. And I kind of see that's how DDP is. It's like he's still kind of green, but
he brings people to his level.
To his level, yeah. Like, oh, this is awkward, and then like.
Gilbert Burns predicted that Dricus du Plessis would come out aggressive like a truck and might even take Sean Strickland down. He doubted du Plessis would get finished and believed he would fight through everything. Moicano leaned toward a late finish in the 3rd or 4th round, but said a decision win was also possible.
And look at the fight. That guy gets so freaking tired. He's that one speed fighter. He's gonna come like a freaking truck at you. I do believe he might take Dricus down. I don't think he's gonna get finished. I do believe Dricus is gonna fight through all that. Maybe a decision, but I do believe a late finish, 3rd to 4th round. That's my prediction.
Chael Sonnen disagreed with those who say Dricus du Plessis has nothing to prove. He argued that in today's stacked middleweight division, a strong win over Chimaev would push Dricus into a pound-for-pound contention. Sonnen said DDP could soon be mentioned alongside names like Islam and Aaliyah, with a top 3 ranking being a realistic next step.
Some people feel that Dricus has nothing to prove in this fight. I strongly disagree. I think that the pound-for-pound rankings, I think that Dricus is going to get Imanov, Kyle Brawl, when Izzy Adesanya is one of the guys just floating around, when Whitaker is one of the guys just floating around, it starts to show you how hard a division is, right? Sean Strickland hasn't gone anywhere, and I'm just saying, in a division that tough, I used to be the king of middleweight. I knew middleweights inside and out. Partner, they did not have 10 Anderson Silvas at middleweight, but they do now. And if Dricus can go out and look good and get the win over Chimaev, I just think that ranking, he all of a sudden is going to be flirting with Islam's space and Ilya's space. He's going to be flirting with the top 3. And I think that's the only way that we know how to compliment him in our industry. We give him a belt, we give him a main event, and then we give him a little bit more. And that top 3 placing pound for pound is very within reach right now for Dricus.
Anthony Hernandez said that he believes Dricus du Plessis will shock everyone in the fight. He explained that du Plessis is a big and awkward fighter who always moves forward and never seems to get tired. Hernandez pointed out that Khamzat Chimaev has struggled with smaller fighters in the past and still hasn't fully proven himself. He added that taking Khamzat to the ground usually causes problems for him.
I think DDP is going to surprise the world, man. He's a big motherfucker. He's awkward. He comes forward. He doesn't get tired. Khamzat gets tired with small guys that were 155ers, you know what I mean, that went up to 170. So I'm still not really sold on him. I know he's good. I know he can beat up Robert Whitaker. But like I said, the old is very one-dimensional. They only have one tool. If you can get them to the floor, it usually seems that they have a bad night. And that's just the honest truth of how I've seen it play out.
Belal Muhammad showed strong support for Khamzat Chimaev while calling out Dricus du Plessis. Speaking ahead of the big card in Chicago, Belal sarcastically told Dricus not to contact him for anything like food or training hell. He warned that Dricus isn't welcome in Chicago and ended by saying, "Go Khamzat," making his pick obvious.
Also, heard Dricus in Chicago. Bro, this is my city. Big card next week. Huge main event. You need anything from Chicago, food, groceries, therapist, cage, gym, sauna. Make sure you don't hit me up. You're not welcome here. Chicago, you see him, you let him know. You don't like his kind. Go Khamzat.
Michael Bisping believes Khamzat Chimaev is physically built for dominance, but thinks Dricus du Plessis has a real chance if he can survive the early pressure. Bisping said the later rounds favored du Plessis. He also found it surprising that Khamzat is a 2-1 betting favorite, suggesting the odds are too wide for such a close fight.
So Khamzat Chimaev, I just think he's built a certain way, but if Dricus du Plessis can drag him out to the later rounds, I still think it favours Dricus, and the fact that Khamzat is a 2-1 favourite is crazy.
Brendan Schwab said that while Khamzat Chimaev had cardio issues in the past, he has seen him train and believes cardio is no longer a problem. However, if Khamzat fails to finish du Plessis early and gets tired, du Plessis could stop him in the later rounds. He's also curious about du Plessis' grappling, though he's witnessed Khamzat dominate elite wrestlers.
Obviously, cardio was an issue for him back in the day. I'm here to tell you now, I've personally, with these peepers, have seen the man train. Cardio is not an issue, but that's all predicated on, let's say Khamzat goes in there and tries to get DDP down in the first 2 rounds and can't get it done, and he gets tired. DDP in that 3rd, 4th, and 5th will finish him, you know? So I'm interested to see what Khamzat's game plan is. I'm also interested to see how good DDP's grappling is. I've heard training room stories where he's just this freak, but I've personally seen Khamzat beat world-class wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys. Like, toy with them.
Arman Tsarukyan spoke about how much he values being on Khamzat Chimaev's team. He shared that he's glad to support Chimaev however possible, while also gaining knowledge from training alongside someone so skilled. Tsarukyan complimented Chimaev's powerful striking and wrestling abilities, saying that whenever he watches Chimaev spar, the rounds usually end fast, often with a first-round finish.
It's very good to be on his team, you know, and to help him as much as possible, and to learn something new from him, because he's such a high-level fighter, and his striking is good, wrestling is good, you know. I watch his sparrings, and like, it's a finish in the first round.
Rampage Jackson gave his take on the upcoming matchup, saying Khamzat Chimaev has always looked like a monster whenever he's watched him compete. That's why he's backing Chimaev to come out on top. Jackson predicted the fight would probably wrap up in the 3rd round, which he feels is when Chimaev will take over and secure the win.
Khamzat, he's always been a beast every time I've seen him fight, so I'm going to go with Khamzat. I think he's going to take it.
Which round?
I'm thinking around that, like the 3rd round. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Caio Borralho admitted he's repeatedly doubted Dricus du Plessis in the past and has been wrong every time. Looking ahead to the matchup with Khamzat Chimaev, he thinks it could end fast, maybe in the 1st round or early in the 2nd, much like Chimaev's bout with Robert Whittaker. Borralho gives Chimaev a 60% chance of scoring a quick finish, but also sees a 40% possibility that du Plessis, thanks to his size, strength, and resilience under pressure, could stop the takedowns, make it through the early storm, and turn the tide later in the fight.
This is crazy because I always bet against DDP and he always shut in my mouth. But I'm feeling like this can be a fight as fast as the fight with Khamzat and Whittaker, like finishing the 1st round or beginning of the 2nd round, you know. 60% of me say that Khamzat will finish this fight like real fast, but 40% says that Dricus, with his size and height and his weight, he's a big guy for the division. I think he can stop the takedowns or even survive the first 2 rounds, and then the fight gets better for him. So I'm 60-40 on these 2 options.
Caio Borralho went on to explain that the deeper the fight goes, the more it favors Dricus du Plessis. He pointed out that while Khamzat Chimaev comes out aggressively and applies pressure from the start, he often slows down if things don't unfold as expected. On the other hand, du Plessis continues to press forward even when tired, constantly pulling opponents into exhausting exchanges and making them struggle. In Caio's view, once the fight moves past the second round, the momentum begins to tilt toward du Plessis.
So the longer the fight goes, the more it favors DDP?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, 100%, because Khamzat is the guys that go for it in the belt. He's just go at it, and sometimes if things don't go as the way he planned it, we've seen already he gets a little bit tired in the later rounds. So with a 5-round fight, and Dricus is a guy that even after he gets tired, he's still working. He's still making you go in deep waters and making you work. So I think the fight gets way better to DDP after the second round.
Sean O'Malley mentioned that Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev clash is only a few weeks out, and he's really pumped for it. He watched Dricus versus Adesanya again before training and felt like Izzy was performing well, even controlling the action until everything fell apart in round 4. That match reminded him how dangerous Dricus can be, and now he's even more eager to see how he deals with Khamzat.
DDP versus Khamzat. What is that, like 2-3 weeks? Like, holy. I just actually watched DDP versus Israel this morning before practice. And dude, Izzy was looking so good in that fight. Like, I remember watching it and thinking, like, I only had rewatched it just this one time, but watching it live, I remember thinking like Izzy looked good, and I kind of, for the most part, dominating the fight. And then that 4th round just kind of got hit up top on the head and just, you know, went downhill real fast from there. But God, Izzy was looking good in that fight. So I'd like to see Izzy come back. Izzy versus Sean 2 would be sweet. But yeah, Khamzat versus DDP is very exciting for me right now.
Ilia Topuria shared respectful thoughts on both fighters, describing Chimaev as aggressive and dangerous due to his focus on finishing fights rather than going the distance. He didn't choose a specific winner, but said he's looking forward to the matchup and hopes both men show their best. Since he has friends in each corner, Topuria wants the stronger fighter to succeed and believes their skills will deliver a thrilling battle.
He's the man. He's a savage. He calls him his shots. He finishes his opponents. When he goes inside the octagon, you know that that guy goes for the finish. He's not looking for the decision. That's why I respect Khamzat. He's a fucking beast. So he deserves to fight for the title as soon as possible. We're gonna have an amazing fight because I love Dricus du Plessis. He's a great human being. I have a great relationship with him. I have a great relationship with Khamzat also. But as a fan of mixed martial arts, it's gonna be a very exciting fight. I hope the best man wins, and I wish best of the luck to both of them.
Bo Nickel shared his belief that Khamzat Chimaev holds an advantage over Dricus du Plessis because of his superior grappling skills. Being a grappler himself, Nickel acknowledged some personal bias but stressed that grappling and wrestling dominate the current MMA scene. He referenced fighters like Merab, Islam, Bilal, and Khamzat as examples showing how grappling now controls the sport. Nickel also highlighted how even elite strikers such as Robert Whittaker have strong wrestling roots. In his opinion, this approach is extremely difficult to overcome or counter in today's MMA landscape.
Just based on the styles, I just think that the grappling style, you know, I might be biased. I'm definitely biased, but I think the grappling style is so hard to, it's so hard to beat, and it's so hard to defend against. And I guess if you look at it from an analytical point of view, you have so many. It's really become the dominant force in the sport. You got Merab, you got Islam, you got, you know, Bilal, you got Khamzat, you even have you can even look at Topuria. Obviously people know he's more of a boxing style, and he does a lot more striking, but his background is wrestling. You know, he did that before anything else. And so it's really wrestlers that are dominating, grapplers that are dominating the sport right now. And so I think that I would give the edge to Khamzat.
Nickel also pointed out that although Khamzat has appeared dominant, he hasn't truly been pushed into the later rounds, unlike Dricus, who has shown he can handle deep waters. If the bout stretches into the 4th or 5th round, Nickel feels Dricus might hold the upper hand. Even so, he maintains that Khamzat's grappling remains the key factor and favors him overall because of his exceptional ability in that department.
But we still have yet to see Khamzat ever fight a 4th and a 5th round. We've seen that from DDP, and so that's where he would have the advantage. You know, if it goes deep, 4th and 5th round, I think that DDP might be able to pull it out. But you know, all in all, I think the grappling style is definitely an overwhelming style to try to deal with.
Shara Magomedov expressed strong faith in Dricus du Plessis ahead of his next fight, saying Dricus is well prepared and in excellent hands this time around. He warned people not to overlook him and predicted a showing that would be unforgettable. Magomedov added that once the fight is over, Dricus' name will be on everyone's mind, even requesting 2 seconds of silence to recognize the statement he's about to deliver.
As I said before, Dricus is in very good, strong hands in this fight, and we will make sure to remember his name with 2 seconds of silence afterwards.
On the Jackson podcast, host Bear DiGidio shared that Khamzat Chimaev's training camp has reached a new level of intensity by the 3rd week. He noted that the sessions have become more advanced, the techniques more precise, and new sparring partners have been brought in to target specific areas for the upcoming bout with Dricus du Plessis. DiGidio emphasized that veteran coaches are fine-tuning every detail of the camp, focusing not just on workload but on exactly what Khamzat needs to come out on top.
I think Khamzat's camp's really tuning up right now. I feel the intensity, the dynamicness of kind of the sparring partners and the drilling and the techniques they're working on is becoming a lot more intricate, a lot more detailed. I think when people talk about the pace DDP is gonna put on Khamzat after the 1st or 2nd round, if Khamzat can't finish him, I think is a little bit misunderstood. For fighters who understand how camps are put together, they obviously know these things, and I think that it's really important to understand what it is a fighter needs and what they don't need, and I think that's why you have to have a good group of coaches around you, and I think that's what Khamzat has around him. He has a great group of coaches, and I think at the end of the day, you have to understand that when you put together a camp, it's about putting together the pieces that you think it's going to take for you to win. So I think one thing that I understand this morning, when you walk in the Santo Performance Studio and you see 30 people running around and 10 of them are new faces, it's like, okay, we're starting to figure out what the camp needs. We're starting to fill the gaps. We're flying in these people. We're flying in these fighters. We're bringing in these partners. And now the sparring's going to a new level.
DiGidio also praised Khamzat's mindset, calling him a pure fighter who always forces his game onto opponents. He explained that Chimaev isn't trying to put on a show, that's just how he fights. What makes him truly dangerous, DiGidio said, is the way he steps into the cage and takes full control, doing whatever he wants. That kind of dominance makes him a hard opponent to predict or prepare for.
Khamzat's a real dog. That dude wants to go out there and kill. He ain't want to go out there and do anything. He puts on a show just by default because that's just his fighting style. But he's not going out there just to put on this show. He's going out there to show you everything it is that he wants to do to a fighter, he will do. He will impose his will at the highest level because that's who he is as a fighter. And that's the scariest thing about someone. When you know someone is coming in there and they can do anything they want to, that's a scary fighter, and that's someone who should be treated delicately when you're around, especially when he's cutting weight.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about their upcoming fight? Would love to hear your thoughts on their upcoming clash, so share your thoughts in the comments section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also, check out our other videos on the screen right now.